Joining us now from the McCain headquarters, Nancy Pfotenhauer, Senior Policy Advisor with the McCain campaign. Thanks so much for joining us. First of all, what is your response to their jobs summit, if you will, what they were doing today in Florida, and their whole argument in favor of a big stimulus package?
Well, Andrea, you know, it just strikes me as very strange that Barack Obama believes that he can somehow change the current economic mess by taking a policy that has been low taxes and high spending over the last 8 years and somehow fix it by making it high tax and higher spending. That's just that math doesn't add up. And so I hope he got some sense, but if he had any, he would have been announcing today that he was not going to move forward with taxes increases in a weak economy. And as you know, he's increasing taxes on small businesses, about 500,000 of them. That represents about 55% of small business income, about 16 million workers. And he's also a protectionist. So the two silver linings in our economy over the last several months, even in this difficult time, have been small business job creation and exports. And his economic plan burdens both of those and, in my opinion, would stop any growth that we have a prayer of achieving.
Let me ask you about Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann. On Hardball Friday, she raised a ruckus. Let me show what she said and ask you to respond.
What I would say is that the news media should do a penetrating expose and take a look. I wish they would. I wish the American media would take a great look at the views of the people in Congress and find out, are they pro-America or anti-America? I think people would love to see an expose like that.
Now, after that suggestion, Nancy, the Democratic opponent, her Democratic opponent in her race in Minnesota, has managed to raise an astounding $810,000 just in the last couple of days since this thing went pretty much viral. The Cook Report, the respected Cook Report, is now placing that race, which was likely Republican, in the toss-up range. Is this one of the biggest goofs that a Republican incumbent has made in recent years?
Oh, I don't know, Andrea. I think there's a really fierce contest for who wins that one. But speaking of goofs, since you brought up the word, I mean, I think one of the most interesting and revealing comments of
You're going to go on to Joe Biden, but let me ask you to talk about Bachmann first, and then we'll go to Biden. I'll give you Biden. Well, I mean, I have no idea, you know, what was inside her head when she was making those statements. I mean, I think each individual, whether they're Republican or Democrat, needs to be responsible for their statements and be able to explain their beliefs to the American people. And I just have no idea precisely what she was calling for at the time. Would John McCain support that view?
I've never heard him use those words, Andrea. But if we can, since we were talking about goofs or
let's talk about Joe Biden, okay?
Let's talk about Joe. Well, I think that his statement yesterday was one of the most revealing and interesting, not just of this presidential election, but perhaps in modern history, because you had him, if you play the entire clip, and I'm just going to gently chide you and beg you to play the entire clip, you hear that what Senator Biden...
The one where he talks about Obama's steel spine? Perhaps?
No, the one where he talks about the fact that the election of Obama would cause a generated attack by this nation's enemies, and that he himself could think of 4 or 5, and he's guaranteeing that it would cause a generated attack. That's very, very different from how the Obama campaign is trying to spin it right now. And the bottom line is, it is dangerous to be electing someone at this point in time who has so little experience and so little knowledge of foreign affairs. And Senator Obama's own running mate knows it and made that statement not once but twice.
We did play it earlier for Tom Daschle to respond to.
Did you play the whole thing? Tell me you played the whole thing.
I think we played the whole thing. As best I can tell, we played the whole thing. We've been playing it all day. We had it on Morning Joe. Believe me, it's been getting a lot of airing on MSNBC. Let me ask you about robocalls, though. Now you've got Olympia Snowe in Maine joining Susan Collins, joining Norm Coleman. Some of the moderate senators, and at least 2 of them are up for the re-election, are calling on the campaign to stop the robocalls. Robocalls, which are similar, and in fact sponsored by the same organization that went after John McCain in the year 2000 in South Carolina. Is the McCain campaign prepared to stop the robocalls?
Well, I don't know what the Obama campaign has said about it, but I think Senator McCain, our approach is that while they may not be the most pleasant thing to listen to on the other end, they convey vital information that needs to be heard by voters. before they make the decision 2 weeks from today, and that it is a tried and true method of reaching people. And so while I can understand why some people may not enjoy getting them, I certainly think the do not call law that reg that the FTC put through was probably the most popular in my lifetime that any regulatory agency had ever done. These robocalls do play a role, and that's why I think you saw Governor Palin saying point blank that she would not request them to be turned off.
But at the same time, she said that she wouldn't use them. She wouldn't have chosen that tactic.
No, I think what she said was, if you go through again the entire quote, I think entire exchange.
Right.
If she went through that everybody wishes they lived in a world where it was easy enough to reach people, where you could have a genuine conversation along the lines of what Senator McCain was trying to accomplish with Senator Obama when he asked him to do those town hall meetings across the, travel across the country and meet with real Americans, have it be unscripted, give them the opportunity to ask questions, ask follow-ups. That was the kind of conversation that I think our campaign wanted to have. Senator Obama chose not to engage in it, and now we're kind of all trying to reach as many voters as possible and shed a light on Senator Obama's positions that are very far to the left. I was listening to your earlier guest and thought it was interesting because Senator Obama, he was saying it's hard to win if you're far left or you're far right. Senator Obama is clearly far left, no matter how he tries to obfuscate it. It's why he's got the most liberal voting record in the U.S. Senate.
Okay. And by the way, what Joe Biden said was generated crisis, not generated attack. Two different things, but we can leave it there. Believe me, we have played that tape more often than you can imagine.
Do you play the part where it says that it won't be apparent that he's done the right thing as well? Because that's important.